And it was kind of an after party thing, like, because it was on the fourth floor.
Yeah.
And then, so there's a bunch of people that were hanging up out there.
I would have kicked them the hell out.
And we did. About 2 o'clock, we kicked them out and said goodbye.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And then we looked at each other, and she was just sitting on the floor, and we were like, and it's bedtime.
What does it mean for the wedding and event industry?
I don't care what situation you're in, you can do something simple.
I gotta say, I actually still love weddings.
I do still love weddings. And this is the event, Wedding and Event Insider. Gosh, I even got that wrong. What a day we're having. Thanks, everybody, for coming to the Wedding and Event Insider.
I think you just got married.
Yeah, it's post-nuptial bliss. I'm your sister-in-law, Elizabeth Sherry, also known as your wedding planner.
Awesome wedding planner, yes.
Yes.
Joined virtually. We have a virtual guest today.
And who is that?
Yes. Hey, I'm Michelle Twerberg, co-founder Tcwep. It's really wonderful to be here with you guys today.
Our first remote guest seems to be working. You sound good, Michelle.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Matt Sherry, and I am the host sometimes, if I can get it right. Thanks for being here, everybody.
It's just because Elizabeth and I will whisper things to you. We help you out. So I'm sorry I
It's a lot
interjected.
easier live at live events than when we're recording. It's harder for you to whisper at me what exactly I'm supposed to do. But,
I'll just kick you under the table from now on.
so our topic today, I think, is going to be a lot of fun, and it's pretty interesting to our couples, I think. Last time we did a lot of stuff about wedding planning and making sure that you stay calm. We're going to do some insider secrets, some wedding hacks, really some things that we think that our clients should actually know, and things that a lot of our vendors try to help with. But, if you don't ask the right questions, sometimes you're not able to give them the right information. So
Secrets are so fun in the wedding industry. And
are they secrets?
I think so. I mean, I of course come from the venue and catering background, so there's a lot of secrets. I think there's a lot of mystery in catering. I think even to other vendors, it's like, what is this?
So what are some things about venues then?
Well, so venues, I would say one of the biggest secrets I can offer to clients is what to ask on your venue tours. And one of the questions I would ask them every single time is, what is their timeline experience with you? And what I mean by that is just so you can know when to be prompted by things, as far as at 6 months, and this is if this is a venue and caterer, at 6 months you do a tasting, at 3 months you do a full planning meeting where we go over every nitty gritty detail. 2 weeks before we go over final logistics, day of, you can drop off your stuff. This is something that was very routinal to me in my past, not that it works for every venue. But why I say that is because then as the client, you know those timestamps of when you need to give and provide information. So you don't have to send, and maybe you still will, but the email that is 30 questions long that is sent on a Saturday of June 10th to your venue being like, I have 30 questions for you. Can you give those answers to me as soon as possible? I will tell you, like, I love clients like you. I really, really do. But when a vendor sees it, so here's the secret. When a vendor sees a 30 question email, we all look at that and say, not today. This is going to be our hour of my time carved out. I will get back to you. But here's what I'll tell you. This is where the secret is. If you really have an important question, because this is usually your first time planning a big function, we get that. If you have a really important question that needs to be answered, is there a way you can make it one question and in the subject line say, quick question, ... I promise. One question is blankety blank, 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 right? And then I'll tell you every time I'll look at my phone and I'll see an email like that. Be like, I can respond to that right now, live at an event. I mean, how many of us have probably gotten those 30 question emails and one of those questions was actually timely? Like one of the ones was like, oh, I see why you're asking this right now. I can definitely issue a response. Right. So that's one of the little secrets. So
even in some of those emails, like some of those questions can be easily answered, and some of those questions take some time, and you're going to have to look through things up. You're going to have to figure out the timing for that. You have to connect with someone else before you connect with the answer. So we see that all the time, and that's exactly what we do. It's like
sometimes
okay,
premature too. Like you're like, okay, these are questions that you don't need to know now. We don't even have all the information. Like you're getting ahead of yourself, but it's buried within 80 questions.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of questions too where I feel like, okay, I actually need to know XYZ before I can answer that question. And XYZ gets answered at that planning meeting we do at 3 months. And it's not to put you off, but it's like there is an order to something to make sure we all understand generally what is out there as far as needs and wants. So that is one thing I do want to mention. Another one is if something like that is so important to you as a client, feel free to ask your vendor, ask any venue, any vendor, what is your email response time? And see what they say.
Actually ask the vendor what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah. The person that is going to be responding.
Yeah.
Right.
Because if someone were to ask me that when I was doing venue and catering, I would have said I do a 24-hour response time except for on weekends. And it sometimes is an email back saying, hey, I got your email. I will answer it by X day. Because unfortunately, sometimes we get super busy. I have 5 events in a row. And I think as a client, you probably understand that. But as long as you know we received your email, which gives you hopefully that peace, and then 5 days later, you're going to get a response from me, I'm now held accountable to that because I said it to myself out loud. So I hope you were working with vendors that are like that can be responsible enough to say,
You see that too, where couples are thinking about those questions like on the weekends too. So you get that email on Friday or Friday evening. I would like those clients to just realize that's what we're doing our jobs now. We're doing the events now.
Yep.
It's sometimes it's chaos, and we can see that it's there, but
if it's your wedding, you would want us to focus on you.
Yeah. And we've got 3 days of events going on. We've got a day of recovery, and then we can concentrate on that. So
the day of recovery, actually, I like that that was something that is something Mondays.
Don't work 24/7.
Yes, everyone out there, Mondays are usually a day off for vendors because you can imagine there's weddings on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So where are the days off?
Yeah.
Mondays, if you don't get a response on a Monday, don't
Answers
freak
are
out.
demanded Monday through Friday.
Yes, exactly. Well, Michelle, how about in photography? What are some things there that you feel like people need to know more about?
Oh, so good. I think just chiming into with that timeline too is like that planning meeting that you would have. I mean, typically a photographer is going to be like 4 to 6 weeks out. We're going to talk about like, has anything changed in your timeline and the different things that they want to have at the event and that sort of thing. So having that planning meeting time is where a lot of those questions get answered and that sort of thing. I would say like probably the biggest question when we're talking in our planning meeting is like, are you going to do a first look or not? Are you going to first see each other at the ceremony? Because that is really going to line out your photography timeline. It's going to change either way that you're going to go with either having a first look or waiting to see each other as a couple during the ceremony coming down the aisle. Both can be done. Photographers, we do it both ways. I would say with my experience, I always am like, even if they're dead set on like, we just want to see each other at the ceremony, I'm like, that's all good. But in the planning meeting, just let me talk to you about the different ways of how that's going to go. And maybe just listen to the ideas of seeing each other first and having that first look and looking at that timeline and the way that that's going to work versus the timeline of we're going to wait to see each other at the ceremony. We're going to have to take all of these pictures after the ceremony as far as when we're together. We'll try to get pictures beforehand, of things that can happen when you two are, the couple is separated and not seeing each other. It can happen, but I will tell you from my years of experience, the smoothest days that I have seen is when the couple will see each other, have that first look, because typically the photographers are going to get always got the best images of my couples at that first look because it's just the two of them. It's quiet. It's not in the hustle bustle of like, we're trying to get things done and we're trying to stay within the timeline of, dinner's coming and all the different things that we need to take care of once we're in the midst of the timeline happening. Your guests are there and things are moving and rolling.
It's just
so I
measuring
just would
their
say,
priorities, right, Michelle? Just like, what are your priorities
it's measuring their
as far as,
priorities. Where is your
is it
priorities?
your photos of you two, or is it you guys, your experience that day and what that experience is?
Also, that first look, you just finished getting ready. So your hair is the best, your makeup's the best, you're not sweaty, right?
Coming from the male in the room, my
yeah,
husband.
well, the one who shot
it's so true.
who shot hundreds of weddings.
Videographers,
So
Women, you look the most beautiful
Yes,
the
you
5
do.
minutes after, but the rest of
Absolutely.
the day you don't.
Do you think you don't? Do you think after you've
Well, I
been
would
walking
say
around
with
for
the
2
dress-
hours that you're going to be nice and after you've been sweaty,
I'm
especially
dewy.
a wedding that's any time from July to September, like you're going to be a sweaty mess, and you've already had a couple instances where you've taken photos, and now you got to fix your hair, and now the first time you're seeing him is after you've been in the dress for 3 hours and being stressed out and taking photos versus here I am.
I
Here I
think
am
is,
right now.
is
Well, I think
fun
you're
is
so careful with the dress too. You know what I mean? You're so careful with the dress. So when you have the pictures taken beforehand, it does really, there's like a relaxation. What I've seen with my couples when they see each other is that there's a relaxation. They just like at all the other events that happen, the timeline just kind of goes along and it's just more relaxed because it's like, yep, we've gotten our important formal pictures with our families and the dress is pristine and we're all looking our very best.
Yeah, absolutely.
Having that done and taken care of. And then they just really enjoy the ceremony. And then it's like, then after between the ceremony and the reception, we can have pictures of just the wedding party and the couple together. And the families can go to the reception and just, because they want to see and greet and meet all your people. They're not held up there. I just see it as a way to, it's an experience not only for the couple, but it's also everybody else that's there, your family that's in there, your parents that are there, grandparents and that sort
One
of thing
thing,
too. Just
too,
going.
I think it's important to consider is your wedding event doesn't actually start until your ceremony starts, right? So like your day of, when you're inviting people, your day doesn't actually, the event doesn't start until your wedding starts. So if you're not seeing each other until your event starts and you have to do these photos, you're missing, that's what people don't understand, you're missing a bunch of your event. And that people are enjoying. You're missing that time with them where you can get all that hustle bustle out of the way. You can take all those photos. You're going to still take photos, but make them the fun photos. Those are the sunset photos. Those are, other images that you can have fun with, not the, where's the family? I got to do the stress of, I got to make sure, wear hands, everybody see me, look at me. You know the drill, Michelle. It's just, that can be very frustrating, and it's just logistically, it makes everything nicer.
Well, I mean, to move into a different lane of photography, I think a lot of times as a planner, I even get, why is photography so expensive? And they ask me that question. I'm like, can you talk to your photographer about transparency of fees, please? Because I don't want to answer that for them. So Michelle, can you answer that for everyone?
Oh, I sure can. Typically, you're looking at an 8-hour package. Typically, I mean, they can obviously photography packages range all over the place, but a lot of times with that expense, you have to think about everything that's all encompassing. Sometimes there's a second photographer that's involved. The editing time, because I think people look at that actual, oh, you were 8 hours.
Yeah, you make $700
and this is my
an
package.
hour, Michelle. Ha ha ha.
Oh yeah, no, you don't. You really, really, really don't, because the editing time, photographers love their job and they're going to look at those images, and the editing time that we spend on them is a lot of time. I know I would spend at least 40 hours plus editing, because especially if I had a second photographer, it's like putting the pictures together, having it be storyline, taking out the pictures that, somebody walked in front of my camera, everybody's blinking on this one, taking out the junk pictures and going through and editing that. But there's so much more to it too. There's camera gear. It's expensive. Photographers are going to have, double or triple of camera gear, because they have to have their backup backup equipment, because they're going to take care of your day and know that they don't want any of their gear to, if it fails, they've got something else there readily available to take care of your day. You also got to think about the website, the social media, the web galleries, the marketing, the booth events, networking. There's sometimes venues will require liability insurance for photographers to have, and also realize taxes are taken out of that 8-hour package. We pay taxes on that as well, and we're very seasonal here in Minnesota, so it's.
Yeah.
There's only a certain amount of events that we do.
short period of time to make your money for the year.
Yeah, but it's the transparency of fees that I think is the biggest secret that's out there about why we cost so much, or why something's a certain way. So, I mean, I'll tell you right now, in catering, that is part of the mystery. Everybody looks at catering being like, why does this meal cost so much? Or my favorite is house and service fees. So all of you clients getting married and maybe you got what is called a BEO, banquet event order, from your venue. You look at it and you see a 18 to 25% service fee on there. You're like, what the hell is this? And why is it adding a quarter of the amount of money that I'm spending onto my bill here? On top of taxes, which are some of the higher taxes if you get married in downtown, and especially on alcohol and things like that. Unfortunately, those taxes are higher. So I'll tell you that can be ranging around 10 to 13% on top of it. So if you're looking to save some money, unfortunately, I don't want to make anybody mad, but get married in a burb, because there's about a 3 to 5% difference in taxes based on that. So house and service fees, what is in there?
Everyone in Minneapolis hates you right now.
I know. I'm sorry, but it is. I can't tell you. I mean, 13.75% on alcohol makes a huge difference versus 9.875 in the burbs.
But that's the cost of the
dropping
prestige
hard
of getting
numbers over here.
married in downtown.
Not going to lie to you, it's paying for a beautiful stadium that are
Yeah,
operated by the
There you go.
That's one of the biggest hikes we saw.
Go Vikes.
And why? But
I'm on board already.
yeah, there you go. But those fees are not gratuity. Most often they are not. At hotel venues, yes, sometimes, because it's union labor. So just letting you know, just ask the question, ask for the transparency of fees. But what is in there? I never really disclose this. This is a huge secret. But what is in there? There is a percentage in that for commission for your consultant. That is something I always felt very uncomfortable saying to people, but it's true. I am based on commission. I want to make a sale for you. Does that mean that I'm going to be a used car salesperson and oversell you on certain things? No, that wasn't in my nature. It's not in a lot of people's nature because it's a small percentage, but it's in there.
You're not doing it for fun. You know?
No, yeah, exactly. Our wages are like that of almost sometimes a server's, where you are base salary and then you have commission on top of it. So it's not enough to live on. And it's showing you that if you work harder and do more events, that like each event to me meant something because I knew I was getting something out of it. So it was good. I had some passion behind it. The other fees that are in there are sometimes exclusive caterers to venues have to give a kickback to the venue that they're hosting it at. That's not talked about, but it's in there, and that's just the cost of doing business. So those are the fees that are in there that does get pushed onto the client. So then if there is not gratuity, ask your venue what is standard gratuity, and they'll ask your venue and caterer that. So transparency of fees, don't be afraid to ask those questions. That might be the secret of overall, I would say, with the catering piece. And then I'm going to go a little bit into, just because I'm talking really businessy, I guess, and then this fact that liquor liability in catering is a real thing. And what I mean by that is when I had to have conversations, and sometimes uncomfortable ones.
Why can't we bring our own beer in?
Exactly. I always felt so bad. Why can't I bring my own beer? Or, hey, they didn't listen to me the first time, and they did bring their own beer.
I was going to say, when
in.
those people ask that question, they're bringing beer anyway.
Yes.
Yes.
And then,
It's coming in.
The real question is, how much do I have to hide this from you?
Yes,
Okay, got
exactly. It's like, okay, let's be smart about it. If you put it in the trunk of your car and you walk to your car and pretend you're smoking, fine. Like, there's nothing I could really do about that. But if you bring a cooler on site to my venue, I have every right to say, get that out of here, please. We've talked about this. And of course, I do this in a much nicer way. But I'm not doing it for a money grab. I'm not asking you to pay our liquor prices, because they will be higher than what you went to a liquor store for. But I'm telling you, because it is our liquor liability, and if we lose our liquor license, we will no longer be in business.
Yeah, it's over.
It's gone.
You don't have a revenue stream.
This state is hard to maintain and actually get, again, a liquor license. I actually haven't heard of many people losing their liquor license and either one getting it back or losing it altogether. Thank God. It's because this is a real thing. And we do need to monitor how much alcohol people take. And if somebody does get in their car and do something irresponsible, we are liable. You are not. We are. We have the money. They will sue us. We lose our liquor license. And, maybe even for a consultant, more is on the line for them in particular. So that's why we're stingy about it. I hope you understand that. I have to explain this a lot to my girlfriends when they were getting married, and they totally understood and be like, just be that responsible person, please. It's worth it. I promise. Just pay for that. So that's what I would say about the transparency of catering is in those fees, just asking those questions, if you can do that to your consultant. And Matt, I don't know if you have something in your,
Maybe a happier note.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I know.
would say
Actually, go to the fun stuff, right?
I think that's all
That's
really
depressing.
important.
Why-
Entertainment.
Really important information, but my eyes were
Wah,
glazing
wah.
over like I was in a lecture hall at the U of L. I was trying to take the notes and the bullet points, like all these things to remember. Well, I deal with entertainment a lot. So, I mean, we do a
The
lot
fun
of things.
stuff.
But it's the fun stuff. And That's if there's a secret or a hack or something I'd love clients to really understand, and it's not something that anyone thinks of, but it's how you stage your event. How are you staging, like, where people are seated? How are you staging where the different entertainment aspects are, as far as, you know, the logistics of the room? And sometimes when we're talking about catering, I think sometimes entertainment people are on a different plane than catering people, because catering people are trying to make sure that we can serve the liquor and the
Get
food
between tables.
get between tables, make sure that we've got enough room, make sure we can do it nice and smooth and easy, and get that food out in that hour that, you know, is that prime time. But in the entertainment, we think of this event as a 6-7 hour event, and, you know, how are we going to keep people a part of the event? And people have 4 or 5 hours of attention span. So
If
That's
that.
generous.
well,
Yeah.
for an event, we have 10
That
minutes.
seems a
really,
lot.
but for being at an event, 4 or 5 hours is kind of that max. And in Minnesota, we want to do 7-8 hour events, and so staging your entertainment's really important. What kind of entertainment do you have? You've got liquor, which is definitely important for mood.
See,
sometimes.
I am the fun part.
Yes, you are the fun part in a way. You have dancing. That's why you have DJs. And then sometimes you have photo booths, which is pictures and a lot of fun. If you're having all three of those elements at your event, something to think about is to keep those elements close to each other. They don't have to be on top of each other, but as long as they're in the same vicinity of each other, you're always giving your guests a draw of a place to go back to, right? So they might go outside, they might go to the hallway, they might go sit down a little bit, but there's always, you go to get the drink, now all the entertainment is right there, you go to take pictures, it spills, people are dancing in the line waiting for a photo booth, and it spills onto the dance floor, and there's just this synergy that you kind of create by always keeping this area where everybody wants to be. And sometimes, like, you know, if you have a photo booth, a caterer will be like, I have this awesome room across the hall, you know, that you can put the photo booth in. And it's like, well, do you want to have 150 people in line in a hallway trying to get into this room while they're not in your event? And when you separate those things, you make things more awkward. So it's similar to if you have a giant space. If you have a giant space that fits 350 people and you've got 100 people coming, figure out how to make that space smaller and more intimate, so that it is too much space can be awkward. You want to stimulate conversation.
I like it. You're speaking to this entertainment triangle, just like how you're supposed to have your fridge, stove, and sink in a kitchen at a certain, like,
Yeah,
triangle.
really.
It's kind of true. I see what you're saying.
It is an insider secret, because we would rather, you know, you don't do that in a lot of ways, because if you don't have your photo booth next to a dance floor where people are going to use it, and you put it in that opposite room, well, guess what they're not doing is taking a lot of photos, and they're not taking a lot of prints, and it costs me less money. Yay.
Yeah,
we honestly, we want you to have fun. We want, the whole point of you getting this photo booth is that you have fun with it. And if nobody's using it, that's not fun. And then it leads to complaints anyway, because like, well, nobody used it, and you know, and it becomes
it wasn't
our fault.
actually at your party.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
The party was in another room. So, yeah, we gave an away award to somebody as a joke this year, because she got put in other rooms like a bunch of times, and she was just so bored. You know, so yeah. It's
and
a real
actually,
thing.
sometimes like the bar is permanent, right? And that's the space it is.
Right.
And then, you know, the DJ's on the other side. Well, even if you take those same ideas and at least put the photo booth back by where the DJ is, even though you're coming to this side of the bar to get the drink, there's still that draw to bring them back.
We
you
could
know?
always distribute alcohol. We could come to you.
Yeah, we can come to you. And actually, that's all I really had about that. I did want to say one thing for Michelle, when you were talking about seeing each other beforehand. Some may know, some may not know, but I got married last weekend. And or this past
Congratulations.
weekend. Yes, thank you. A round of applause, everyone virtually. But it was really important to Ashley, my wife, that we didn't see each other before the ceremony. And everything you talked about are things that we experienced. I'm in the industry, so we knew those were things that we were going to experience. So we're not upset about the idea that we didn't have, you know, some of that really strong alone time with great photos. We knew that we were not going to be able to attend our social hour, which is a time I love, because that's where I can really get to reconnect with people that are there. You know, but there's a romance question that's there too, and you know, happy wife, happy life, and I do have to say that I did actually really enjoy the moment when I first saw her coming down the stairs and down the aisle. It was emotional for me, but I do think it would have been just as emotional alone, and doing that first look, and we would have had a great opportunity to take a lot of pictures. But so there's some give and take with that.
Oh, absolutely. I would say there's.
Oh, sorry, Michelle.
Go ahead.
This is the part of the virtual.
I know. Hello.
Mine was going to be a mean comment to Matt. What was yours?
Mine was just going to be, yes, it can be done both ways. It really can. But if you go that route where you wait to see each other during the ceremony, it's just that planning piece. You have got to talk about it, and you've got to know that you're going to be missing out like on that social hour. And when are you going to be engaging with your guests? Is it going to be, are you going to have a receiving line? Are you going to, when are you going to be able to see them? Don't just wait till the dance part, because some of your guests just end up having to leave before that even happens. And then you might miss out on they were there, but I didn't get to see them, talk to them, say anything. Yeah. So then at your dinner, you've got to go to each table and talk to your guests. I mean, there needs to be a time when you're able to see them and be able to engage with them. But it really can be done either way. But I wouldn't, the people that are wanting to be waiting for the ceremony, and that's when we first see each other, I would talk to your friends, talk to people that have already been married, ask them about that first look and that experience, and then ask them if that first look, because I'm going to tell you that even when you do see each other during the ceremony, it's going to be full of emotions. Even if you have seen each other for a first look, that ceremony time is just an amazing time. You're still going to have a lot of great emotions to enjoy at that time as well.
For sure.
Well, quick secret I do want to say is that if you have over 120 guests, you will not say hi to every single one of them. I'm just going to tell you that right now. You won't.
We didn't.
Yeah, exactly. 120 guests is the cutoff. I've never seen anybody make the rounds, no matter what. So 120.
Yep.
Let's keep your guest list under that.
What's the mean thing you were going to say before we wrap up?
Oh, I thought your bride was running away.
Oh.
Yeah. There was some moment.
And on that note.
Yeah.
And on that note.
I didn't think she was coming. I was really nervous. I was starting to run through plans in my head, Matt. I'm like, this has never happened to me. Of course, this is going to happen to a family wedding.
Oh, man. The evening would have
You didn't have a runaway bride?
That's for sure. Yeah.
I've never had a runaway bride.
Yeah, everyone was worried about me, but I showed up like an hour early and sat around for 2 hours.
That's
waiting
why I
to take
planned
photos.
the timeline the way it was. Wrap this up, Matt.
All right.
Gosh.
Hey, thank you everyone for watching us. Wedding and Event Insider. This was a fun conversation. We could talk about this actually a lot longer, but we want you to listen.
Part 2.
We might do a part 2 of it. Yeah, very fun. So thanks everybody. Michelle, Elizabeth. Also, I didn't introduce our awesome producers.
How dare you?
Which is Mike Sherry, my brother, and Paul Cram. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time.
Woo-hoo.
Check you later. Oh, yeah, I didn't prepare that. Just remember, wherever